Excellent. All righty. So if you do not know, if we have not met each other, I am Mindy Stern, and I am so thrilled to welcome you to our October Accelerator Career Group call. Every month, we host some fabulous speaker. Today, it's Becky Amble, who speaks about a topic that will intrigue you, who will interest you, because most of you are in some kind of job search. Or today, because we're talking about AI, may just really want to get more knowledge about how to use AI as a tool. We'll talk about that in a moment. If this is your first time at an accelerator call, please put the number 1 in the chat so that we can welcome you properly. I'll give you a moment to do that. Arlene, welcome. And Marissa, welcome. And Maureen, welcome. Maria, Matthew, welcome. And Stephen Young, welcome. Yeah, those are all new names. John Perillo, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a fabulous group that joins us every month. We started with a very, very small group of 6 people back in 2020 when COVID was really rearing its ugly head. And we wanted to build this community of people who would support each other through a job search. And if you remember anything about COVID, it was a wild and crazy time. And our community has grown from 7 to over 700 now. So you are more than welcome to join us in our community. It is a private LinkedIn community. So if you would like to join, Lori is going to put the link to join that community right into the chat. It's a good time to remind you to, number 1, put your name and the type of job you're looking for into the chat. You never know who's going to be on a call like this, number 1. And number 2, if you want to save the chat, because there will be some interesting information in there, just hit those 3 dots at the very top right of your chat, and you can save the chat. I suggest doing it at the beginning and then again at the end. So I am thrilled to announce our next free accelerator event, which is happening on November 11th. And my dear friend, Virginia Franco, has agreed to join us. She's an executive resume writer, if you don't know who she is. She's a past president of the National Resume Writers Association. Pretty cool. This is your golden opportunity to ask Virginia any questions that you have. And so the title of that particular event is Ask Me Anything, Resume and LinkedIn Best Practices. And invariably, I know we're talking about AI today and how AI integrates with your resume. We'll hit all that today, but it invariably brings up other questions about how to handle your resume and what you should be adding to your resume and how to utilize that. So start jotting down your questions for November 11th. The registration link is open right now, and you can register for that. Today's session, we had over 100 people register. So I suggest registering quickly for that, for Virginia's, because that one always sells out as well. So I appreciate you being here. One thing for those of you who are new, who don't know me or don't know the group, I always try to capture golden nuggets, really smart things that we might hear today, either from Becky or from someone else that is sharing information today. And I will create all of those and put it in a post tomorrow. I ask you to please put those golden nuggets right into the chat so I can grab them later on. And that way we capture your information as well. It also helps your brain to remember the things that you want to remember. So anything that you hear that you want you want to share with other people who perhaps couldn't make it today, just stick it right in the chat and I will grab those and put them into our post tomorrow. I see Kevin Turner has joined us. Welcome, Kevin. Can you say hi real quickly? Unmute and say hi.
I'm not that fast.
That was fast. Thank you, Kevin. Kevin's speaking to us in January. Kevin, it's an annual event for us. He kicks off the new year with his genius. And so if you're interested in that, it's not ready yet, but just know he's coming up in January. And Shelley is here. She was just here last month. So all of these beautiful presenters are all captured for, I guess, eternity on my YouTube channel. So you can go check those out if you happen to miss it. We have Carrie Bryson is coming up in March, and Linda Brubaker was here, and Sue Griffey, all have presented. Jeff Young has presented to us. So there's a ton of great information. Go into my videos on YouTube and take a peek. All right. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Becky. Becky is helping us stay up to date on our AI knowledge, which is growing exponentially, right? Every day there's something new coming out from AI. I'm going on a Sora 2 training in about a week and a half, which is another new evolution, I think, of ChatGPT, and that has to do with video. So we always need to stay up to date on this. Becky has been doing a great job, and I think I was one of the first people who bought her book, Mastering AI for the Job Hunter, she calls it, and I'm sure she'll talk more about that in a bit. But I'm so glad that you're all here, because it means that you understand how valuable this tool can be for us. Becky, I think I'm going to send this lovely group over to you and let you begin your presentation, because there's so much to cover and I want to give you as much time as possible. Is that okay for everyone?
Yeah. Oh, it's okay with me.
Okay, great.
Okay, I'll share my screen.
Perfect. Thanks, Becky.
There we go. And thank you, Mindy, for having me here. I know there are a few people I know, and Mindy is an amazing resource, as is Sue and Linda, and I'm sure other people that maybe I don't know as well. So I'm really happy to be here. Yes, I'll go to my next page. What I would say probably sets me apart in the AI space is that I come from this as a strategic business person. I am used to growing businesses, figuring out how to make money, whether it's a startup, a turnaround, as an employee, as a consultant, whatever. I've been in various spots. And then when AI came out in November of 2022, actually ChatGPT, because AI has been around for a long time, we just never knew it. I started studying on my own, studied with 3 different organizations, and now have stuck with a program through an organization that is really great, because it's a lifetime membership, at least their lifetime or mine or whatever, whichever lifetime you want to use. And they start their 12-week session and then start over after the first 12 weeks. So it's constantly updating. And like Mindy says, we just have to do a lot of work if we're going to try to keep up. And I was talking with someone, I had an earlier morning meeting that I was at 7 o'clock. And I said to the one guy that I was talking to, I said, it's no longer jumping on the bandwagon. It's jumping on the rocket ship, because things are moving so quickly. We've never seen anything move as quickly as this. Yes, and I've got 6 books on artificial intelligence. 5 are on Amazon, and luckily they've all hit bestsellers. And some other stuff is on there too. Anyway, let's get going here. Here's what I'd like to cover today. First of all, let's talk about, what am I qualified for? When we start our job hunt, sometimes we spin our wheels and we think, oh, what kind of job do I want? Where do I fit? Sometimes it's crystal clear, and other times we aren't sure. Or maybe we've been searching for a little while and we feel like we're stuck, stalled, a little bit off track. So I'm going to share with you a couple things there. Then refining your resume, or possibly we can use the term optimizing. And then we're going to talk about some ways to do company research, which I would guess most of us are doing if we're in a job search. Let's first then go and talk about what we are qualified for. And I want to show you just a couple ways to go with that, if I can get my thing to undo. Okay. And we are thankful that Lisa has volunteered. So that's really terrific. And what I want to show you is a couple things maybe you don't even know about on ChatGPT. Now you can do this on the free account as well as the paid account. I'm operating on my paid account. Over here on the left, if you haven't done this, you
Becky,
see
can you make it larger? Is it possible to enlarge it?
maybe. There we go. How's that?
Yeah, good.
Okay, so over here on the left, you scroll down a bit and you see where it says GPTs, and then you see where it says explore. We're going to go explore. And in order to save us some time, I'm just going to tell you what I'm looking for, and it's called whimsical diagram design. oh, what is it? Diagram. It shows up. So let's see. I'm not used to having my screen so big. Now I can't see what I'm
All right,
doing.
make it smaller because now we can't see it at all.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so let's go to find that. Come on. Oh, because I spelled it wrong.
Yep. Whimsical spelled incorrectly. There you go.
Whim. Okay,
M.
there we go. And there it is, whimsical diagram. So again, if this is something that you haven't used, you can go to the GPTs and then hit explore, and you can type in what you're looking for. You could say productivity, you could say the coloring book maker. There's a couple out there that you can make coloring books if you just want to do something fun. So you can play around with that. Anyway, we're going to go to whimsical designs or diagrams, and we're just going to say start the chat. And what we're going to say is create a mind map. Okay, so we have Lisa who has volunteered. So what you do, go to LinkedIn. You can do a LinkedIn or you can do a resume. So we're going to go here and we're going to copy. I'm in Lisa's page. If you didn't notice that. And I have everything here. And be sure if there's something in your experience section that has the little word more in the bottom corner, be sure you click that so all your stuff is open. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to just copy this. There's all of her relevant work experience. And we're going to go back to ChatGPT where we are now in whimsical designs. And I don't usually get too carried away on my prompt here. So let's, okay, so here we go. There is her job and we're just going to hit, let's paste it in. See the little arrow here if you're not familiar. I'm going to hit that. So it's going to go to town. And it goes pretty quickly. And here, let's just see what it says based on her experience in volunteer gardening, office admin, retail management, strong community engagement, administrative leadership skills. A mind map is the most suitable. Oh yes, we have to allow it to do that. All right, that was pretty fast. Here are the different jobs that Linda could go after and qualify for. So here it says nonprofit sector, office and admin roles, retail and management, community development, and then horticulture and environment. And then it breaks that down even further. So if you're sitting there one day and you're in a funk and you're going, what am I going to do? This might be something just to give you some other ideas. And then what you can do is, you can copy, paste, print, do whatever. It just is a fun way to really look at some other ideas. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do a new chat and I'm going to say, and I'm going to do it in ChatGPT as well, just to show you a little comparison. And, ChatGPT is pretty much going to come out in a paragraph, bulleted form, something like that. So here you could go through and you could say, that looks, what's kind of fun when you do it in ChatGPT, it outlines here, I think you can hopefully see that, it outlines strengths that Lisa has for different roles. So that's kind of a neat thing that ChatGPT has added to it. And you can go to that. And then here it even gives you her value proposition. Now, typically when I'm using artificial intelligence, I tell people, you are the brains. You are in charge. Remember, this is a tool. This is here to help you. So take everything with a grain of salt. If you're working with somebody smart like Mindy or Linda or Sue or any of the other people here that work in that area, get their feedback on it. I want to show you something else. So this is like your standard, give it to me in ChatGPT. The other thing that I did that I wanted to show you, and I'm not going to walk through the whole process because sometimes it takes a while. Can you see this? It's a Figma flowchart. Is that one showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this came up on ChatGPT as well. It just took me a while to get there. So I don't want to go through all the iterations and all the steps that it took me through, because I said, because it'll come back and it might say, do you want this visual? And I said, yes. Well, then it didn't make it a visual like this. I don't know what it thinks visual is. So I kept going back and forth and back and forth. But anyway, here's another way that Linda could look at it. And you can say, hey, there's 4 main buckets. And then what are the subsets? It almost looks like a mind map. So the whole idea is just give yourself another way to look at things, give yourself another tool. Alrighty, I would like to get back to our next subject. And anybody throwing any questions over there in the chat box yet?
No, by the way, I may have forgotten to mention this. If you have questions, put them into the chat, unless you want to raise your hand and then we will call on you. But that is completely up to you. You can put it into the chat, just write the word question in caps so I can see it, and we'll make sure that Becky gets to them.
So the next thing I'd like to show you is how you
I just want to tell you that Lisa is responding. Lisa, I have a question for you. Did you get a chance to look at it, and how do you feel it represents the jobs that might be interesting to you?
I did get a chance to look at it, and it's actually pretty spot on.
All right.
It really is. I have to take a deeper look, but yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm doing the right thing, I guess.
It's fun. You know, sometimes we just get ourselves bogged down. I mean, anybody can. And so sometimes it's just a good way to get out of our head and do something a little different. The other
Right, it gets me out of my funk and then makes I'm on the right track, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And you can look at that and go,
right now.
you can look at that and go, wow, Lisa, way to go, girl. You got some cool stuff you could be doing.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm all for cheer ourselves on. You know, if we don't have Sue Griffey with her pom-poms cheering us on, we might have to cheer ourselves.
Hey,
Anyway,
Becky,
I want to look at,
Becky, Shelley's asking a question, and I don't want to go past that in case I don't want to lose it.
okay,
But I don't know if you can see the chat. Hold on, my chat just moved. Hold
yeah,
on.
I changed my screen.
Shelley's asking, would it be helpful to add any skills you want to do in a job, and importantly, those that you do not want to do? So,
Well, yeah, you could certainly do that. And that's where I think it might come in the next step when we're talking about refining or optimizing your resume, that might be where you want to do some adjusting. The other thing you might want to think about, if you're making a shift into a different industry, AI can be really helpful there, where it'll help you figure out some things that you need to do that may or may not show up. I haven't tried this, but it might be kind of a fun thing where you'd say, hey, Lisa wants to get into corporate America as a such and such. Tell me what her fit is for that. So you could try that. I haven't done that actually, but it would be a good one to try and just see what you get.
yeah, you can do that. You can ask for a table of gaps, right? And you ask for here's the job posting, and here's my skills. What are my gaps? What are my strengths and what are my gaps?
All right.
We have another question, Becky.
Okay.
Tammy has raised her hand. Tammy, can you unmute and ask your question?
Sure. And thank you for the opportunity. I'm not new to mind mapping, but I am new to whimsical diagrams. I was just wondering, and maybe this is a sidebar, have you ever considered using that? You know, downloading your LinkedIn LinkedIn data and making a mind map for the people you know at a company. So first level, second level, third level connections.
I think I'm understanding what you're saying is to use it more to identify connections than to identify skills.
Yeah. So, you know, if you downloaded data from LinkedIn, it'll be a huge like Excel or CSV file. I'm wondering if you can input that into the whimsical diagrams GPT and basically ask it to identify, you know, all of the connections, you know, in your LinkedIn universe using a mind map.
Sorry. I think that's a great idea, and it would be worth trying that. I don't do a lot with Whimsical Place because, you know, it's not the main function of what I spend my time on. There you can go, if you do Whimsical diagram and you go to it, it has some pre-built prompts, and you can go actually to their particular website, and there's a bunch of different things you can do once you are there. So I would say that might be something you want to explore.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I don't have an absolute, because the nature of what I've used it for is kind of what I'm showing you, and just doing some stuff for fun. All right, so let's talk about refining your resume or optimizing it. And I'm going to use ChatGPT. And this is another place where I would definitely talk to somebody that is an expert in job search, because what I have asked ChatGPT to do, and I think I'm going to use my resume as an example, is I said, I want to look at a VP of marketing position. And I'm B2B. I don't remember if I told it to use B2B. Anyway, but I went through and I said, what are some power and buzzwords for a VP position? What language do I need to use? So I went down and I said, what kind of jargon, what kind of phrases? And then I said, what's hot? What are people talking about? And then also had it go through core competencies and some LinkedIn SEO. It can also help you come up with things to get through ATS. And then it can help you with some tone and positioning. If you say, well, I want to be friendly and approachable, yet professional, all that kind of stuff, it can really help you with that. So let's go to another, see if I can get out of this, go back to ChatGPT. Okay, we're going to go to a new chat, and I am going to say, I'm going to dictate this. If you haven't done this part, and my Grammarly wants to always be in the way. Go away, Grammarly. See the little microphone over here on the right? Now I got it too big, and you're probably underneath the
We
thing.
can see it.
Okay, so use the little microphone. You are an expert on vice president of marketing positions. You are an expert on marketing. You are an expert on strategy, and you are an expert on resumes and crafting and optimizing them to be the most effective that they can be. I'm going to give you my resume, and I want you to optimize it.
I think Becky's frozen.
Am I okay? I'm moving on my end. Moving?
Yeah, we got you now. We got you now.
Okay, I just closed LinkedIn because, it's, you know what? I got a couple other things. I like to close as much as possible. All right, so I just dictated and I said, because you want to tell the artificial intelligence what it is an expert in. So I said, you're an expert in vice president of marketing positions. You're an expert on marketing, or an expert on strategy, expert on resumes, all that kind of stuff. And then over here, if you haven't done this, see the little plus sign? So you can attach documents, you can attach photos, all that stuff. So here we're going to go, and it's going to say add photos and files. We're going to do that. And we will go find a resume. Maybe. This gets moving. All righty. And we're going to go there. And we're going to go resume. And we're going to go find this one. Okay, so it now is my resume. I've given it its area of expertise and told it what I wanted to do, and I want to optimize it. So we're just going to hit go. Anyway, it comes out, and there gives you all kinds of information. And then, like what I said, what I would do is I would say, tell me what the power and buzzwords are for vice president of marketing, and include those in my resume. And as you include them, put them in bold print so I can see the changes that you made. So again, it depends on your position and what's going on, but we want to be sure that we're talking the right language. So we're going to see what it does now. And again, it's telling me it's using stuff from Korn Ferry, Russell Reynolds, all those things. And it breaks it down even by category. So strategy and leadership, marketing, execution, innovation, team culture, and it's going to then, based on what your focus is and what your ideal job is or what you're targeting, it's going to do this based on what you have in your resume. So here it gave me the power words again, because I might look at this and go, oh, that sounds really good, and I might not remember what got changed. So that's why I've told it to give me bold, and usually I tell it, put it in a Word document. So there's one thing that you can do, just kind of keep drilling down. And then another one that I've said, this might end up getting redundant, but another thing I said is, hey, now I want you to go through and see if there's any other executive level jargon or senior phrases I should be using. Again, put them in and put them in bold.
Becky, while you're waiting for this, there's a question from Lucius.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. The question is, shouldn't you take your personal information out when posting your resume on ChatGPT? Do you think that's necessary?
I don't, because it's public and I'm looking for a job. So if you're concerned about any of that, I would go over to Claude and I would use Claude AI, and Claude is free as well. It has a free version. So it's a great question. The other thing you can do is you can go to your settings, and rather than probably spend the time on that, that'll be probably in your little lower left corner, and you'll see settings, and you'll go there and you can set your personalization, what is it? Security. You can set that, and you can set your security so that your information is kept more private. So there's some things you can do within ChatGPT. And like I said, for me, I thought, well, if I'm job hunting, I'm putting this stuff out there. So, where's it going to go? It's a great question. Make your own choice on that. And I'm not going to show you the last thing. I did another one where I said, well, what are some hot phrases that people are using? And when I did that, it broke that into categories by functions of what would be typical in a vice president of marketing job. What are the different functional buckets? And it gave me also categories. And then I had it go through, and instead of taking a bunch of time to show you all these, I'll just tell you, and then you decide what makes sense. I also had it go through and identify core competencies. I also had it go through and identify SEO for LinkedIn. And then I had it do tone and positioning. That was on the slide that I showed you. And the other thing that's pretty cool, I'm not sure if it's showing up for this one. When I did this the other day, it comes up and it says, would you like me to also optimize your LinkedIn about section? I'm like, well, yeah, go for it. And so it's ChatGPT is, Claude's really good too. They all are getting so much better. And I primarily use ChatGPT and Claude. If you haven't used Claude, I strongly suggest that, because it is the most secure, just because it's built different. And Grok is Grok. Grok is scoring really well on performance, probably for more business questions and business problem solving. Gemini, and a lot of people like Gemini. And if you are a Microsoft fan, then you might be using Copilot. Copilot, that's a really good question. I got to dig into that some more, because Copilot you would have, because you already have Microsoft products. Now I know for sure if you had it on a server as a business, then you're safe. And I'm not sure now on an individual basis if there's additional security, but that would be a good question. So anyway, just play around with this. Like I said, I'm going to just quickly here go back to the PowerPoint. So back to this one. So again, ChatGPT, Claude, use whatever. And then, like I said, what I did, you decide what makes sense for your job and what you're trying to do. I said, what are the power and the buzzwords? There is a list of adjective or verbs that are considered the power verbs to put in your resume. So that's what I was getting at. That's in the book. And I tell people, go check and see. It might depend on the job you're in, and things might have, things are changing all the time and updating. And then if there's any jargon relating to the level that you're at, senior, mid-level, entry level, whatever. Is there anything particular you need to work in? And also, are there some hot phrases, some hot topics? I mean, are people still talking about scaling ad nauseum? Or what words are people using? And then, like I said, the core competencies, having it helped you with some SEO things, get through ATS. So there's a bunch of stuff here. And pick and choose. And what I do is I like to, it's called iteration, that's a prompting term, is to take it one step at a time and do the first thing that you think is most important, which would be optimizing. And an obvious way is to take a resume, take your resume and a job description, and then go through, like Mindy said, a gap analysis and have it tell you what you need to do. In fact, what you can even have it do is tell you any additional training that you might need, because there's a lot of training available and you might be able to get something for free on LinkedIn training. So, I mean, not everything has to cost money. All right, moving on. Any other questions pop up?
Not that I see.
All right. So here's the part on company research, because we want to be prepared when we go talk to people and have those interviews, and even for targeting our resume, targeting our cover letter, if we're doing cover letters or anything else. And I kind of say, do a cover letter. You know, there's a mixed bag on that one. I just sort of figure, well, if you can do a cover letter and there's anything that you can do to make you stand out, do it. I mean, if it does nothing, at least you gave it the shot of trying to have something unique. Anyway, so I put together what I call a little booklet, and that I will show you the QR code so you can get that. And what I want to share is the simple approach, and there will be a checklist in that. And then there's a, one of the options is what's called the optimal company research. And then there's first round, like if you're doing some research and you're saying, hey, this is my first interview, what do I need to know? There's one geared to that. And there's a senior level if you're at a senior level, or if you're in the final round. And then I want to show you what's called deep research. So let's get back here and let's go over to ChatGPT. Now, as I'm getting ready to do this, does anybody have a company that you want us to research? Because we'll do that for whoever first chimes in. We are going to take your company.
Bloomberg was the first one that came in.
Okay, what's the name of the company?
Bloomberg.
Oh, okay, okay. All righty, so let me get my... You are an expert on company research, and you are an expert on Bloomberg, and you are an expert on crafting the kind of research that I need to prepare for a job interview. And here's what I want you to give me. I'm going to stop that for a minute. And I'm going to go over, oops, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted this one. I'm going to go over here, and this is in your document where it just basically says, here's a start. Because I give you a bunch of stuff, because I'm overkill. I'm going to give you a bunch of stuff and look at it and go, okay, this is manageable. I want to use this. Okay, got that done. Let me try the next thing. So here we're going to copy that. And we're going to go back over here. We're going to put it in here. All right, so I'm just going to take out that example, how to start, and we're going to put in the company name here. And for this simple one, we're just going to say, summarize all key insights for a job seeker preparing for an interview, include company overview, recent news, competitors, culture, leadership, financials, and with 3 to 5 strategic talking points. So we're going to do that and see what we get. Now, as it's doing that, there's a couple things I want to mention that are good ideas to include. It's a good idea to ask it to give you the dates of any of this information, if it's, and to cite the sources. We recently, my colleague and I were preparing for a meeting with a potential client, and she's brilliant, and she put together a lot of background. She's good at doing the research and pulling it together. And we were talking with them, and they go, Oh, that's 2 years old because they hadn't updated their website. So keep in mind, you want to find out, is this current? Is it not current? What the heck am I dealing with here? So here it's going through, and this takes a little bit of time for it to go through. Anyway, here's Bloomberg. And if there's somebody here, Mindy, if somebody wants to share with you their email address or something, I'd be happy to send this to them.
Okay.
So here, and it's simple enough to do yourself. Anyway, so here's the company overview. And most people probably know about Bloomberg and the leadership, and it says who the CEO is. And again, if you want to, there's the source if you need to double check, because it's always a good idea to double check these. And you can see after these sort of like factoids, they do reference where it came from. And the product and differentiators, you would want to know, why is Bloomberg different than who's out there? And the culture and values. Now there it said something went wrong, so I don't know what happened there. We'll just click that one more time and see what happens. And that happens on any of these where something goes a little awry and you might need to tell it to do it again. Now there's one thing I want to show you too. I'm actually going to stop this. So this little black box that you might have missed when I clicked on it is how you can stop things. So and I'm stopping it because what I want to do is go over here to the prompt box down here on the bottom and see the little plus sign. This is also really cool. Hit the plus sign and then go to deep research. This will do more digging and be more thorough, and it takes a little longer, so we won't actually see the result of this most likely. But you tell it deep research, and then you have it just because this wasn't looking quite right, but you can also type in do deep research. So there it's going to go. And the thing that makes deep research a little bit different as well is it's more thorough, it takes more time. All of the LLMs like Claude, Grok, Gemini, Copilot, they all have this feature. So you can do it on any one of them. The other thing that's kind of cool about this is it generally writes it better. So if it were something too where you wanted to maybe do something where you needed to share information, it can be a great way to do it because it takes less editing. It's almost like they had the beginning writer put together the first round, and then they have a professional journalist or something like that that comes through on deep research. All right, let's see if you have any questions. There was one other thing.
We have many questions, Becky. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Al, do you want to open up your mic and have your two questions so I'm not reading them? Would you prefer to do that?
Sure. The first one is, they're both hypotheticals. Can someone take or create a prompt at taking, say, 10 or 15 air quotes around this perfect job descriptions as opposed to the whole world, to extract what the prompt, what you're looking for, say 75 words that are important, so that your own brain can choose, say, 20 or 25 that I like to use a combination of ChatGPT or AI and then use your own brain, because who knows what you do better than you.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's great. And some of what I'm showing is maybe a little bit of an outside resource or a second opinion, look at it that way. Or if you're sitting there working and you're going, oh my God, I could do anybody else's resume but my own. I'm just stuck. So, take it all with a grain of salt and think about what's your motivation? What are you actually trying to do? And Al, I think that's a really great idea where you know your strengths and you're already starting from your resume. So
Right.
in essence, depending on how you write your prompt, you're really asking it just to kind of make an improvement or make suggestions. And you can even go back to it and say, just give me suggestions. And then you can decide, versus having it plug it right in and tell it to put the words in. But what I like is if you tell it, put the words in bold or italic or something, then you can go back and go, oh yeah, no, I don't like that one. I like my verbiage better.
The second question is, can a prompt be created to search LinkedIn for, you want the specific job title and a series of keywords, like a Boolean search, that you want the people, say 20 or 25 people, who have the most overall content, as opposed to trying to search them manually.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And I don't know the answer to that. What I would do is I would build my Boolean search and go put that right in LinkedIn.
I do.
Yeah. So you know that part. And I'm not sure, because that's not exactly where I spend my time. There probably is a way to do that.
Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Al. All right, next one, Becky, is from Julie. Julie, you want to unmute yourself, or you want me to tell it for
Sure.
you?
No, I can
Okay.
ask. So I was trying to have chat search the web for jobs for me,
Mhm.
and it has a great difficulty extracting any sort of date information. So I'll sometimes get roles that are several years old, and I go to the link and it even will give a date posted on some of these. It just doesn't seem to be able to capture that. Is there a specific language I should be using to try to get that date information?
Yeah. Well, what I would try, because all of the LLMs are updated to a certain point, and that's where if you do deep research, I'm almost positive deep research puts you into current data. The other thing that I would say is just be redundant in your search and say, I want to know about current jobs that are available right now or within the last 2 weeks or something like that. And I would experiment with it because I have not actually done that. However, here's a little parallel story. I had a friend who was going to Norway. I know you're going to go, what are you talking about? She was going to Norway and taking her granddaughter on a cruise. So they were first stopping in London, and there was something, I don't know where she posted, LinkedIn or Facebook, and she said, I'm going to go to London and I really would love to take my granddaughter to theater, but because LLMs are dated, I can't get current information. And I said, oh, contraire, because way back when we had something called trigger words, we still can use trigger words. And a trigger word is where you would say research or go online and research. So I did that, and I said, went online and I said, hey, give me the name of performances, things that are going on in theater right now and for the next week, something like that. And lo and behold, there they were. And it even said, check, here's the name of the theater. And I can't remember if it gave me phone numbers or whatever, but it gave me all kinds of information. So there are trigger words. Another trigger word is step by step. So if you're doing something and you don't know how, or you want to do something and you say, give me step-by-step directions on how to set up a Google alert or whatever it might be, it understands, the AIs understand step-by-step means a certain thing to them. So some of that is just helpful. I wanted to share Notebook LM if I could.
Yes, but do you want to answer more questions?
Sure.
'Cause there's a couple more. Okay, Linda Brubaker has a question, a pretty quick one. Do you set your ChatGPT preferences to always provide sources for the company or research, or do you do that every time?
That's a really good question. And again, I don't do a lot of this kind of thing for job hunting per se. However, when I did this demo, I didn't tell it to give me the sources. It did automatically. A lot of times when you're asking for something that's more researchy, like a company research, it usually gives you the sources. Now there's another, it's not quite an LLM, it's sort of its own version called Perplexity, Perplexity, Perplexity AI or .ai, and that has been considered one of the best for doing research. And you might want to experiment with that. And that always has given sources. Now, the other ones like ChatGPT, what we saw today, that seems to be a newer rendition that they are doing that. I used to ask it and say, where are you getting these from? Give me your sources. And then it would usually comply, not always. And so if you go to Perplexity, try that out. And with anything you do, fact check, because Perplexity, as good as it is, has been known to even make up fake sources. And you just go, please, how can you do that? So, but the good thing is when you have the sources, it's pretty easy to fact check because now you know where to look. Good question, Linda. Thanks.
And Shelley has one also. Shelley, do you want to unmute? Has had a comment, I think.
My comment was about using Notebook LM and how this can be a great tool to, when you get sources, and Notebook LM actually can find some sources for you as well, is that the way that it gives you a deliverable, you've got so many options. So depending upon how you best learn, so some who are auditory learners, they can get something that is like a conversation between two people, and they will give out the information to you in a conversational way that may work better for you in terms of absorbing it or doing it in a visual way. So I know, Becky, you brought up Notebook LM, so I thought you might show that a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to show that. Thank you for that. And with Notebook LM, you can upload as many as 50 documents. So if, depending on what you're doing, you could upload a bunch of corporate profiles or whatever, and you can have it organized and compare things and all that. So if you're in this, you would just go to creating a new document. I'm just, okay. Now for some reason, my little screen is doing weird stuff. Anyway, so you would go over here to the left and you'd hit the add source. And then it would pop up here. I'm not going to quite go through all that, but you can do an audio overview. It now can do a video. It can do a mind map. It can write a report for you. It can make flashcards. It could give a quiz. So I thought I will just show you one. Let's see if I can get back here. All right, so I have used this a lot when I'm doing my books. So I'll just show you how that goes. And so I upload here on the left. Here's my knowledge. Here's my input, the whole stinking book. This one for the busy, this was like 150 or 200 pages. So it could take a lot of information. Then you can see it puts it in the middle of my screen. And then I can go over here and tell it to do an audio overview. And again, like Shelley said, if you're an auditory learner, this can be a great tool to use and listen to when you're driving, when you're running, walking, exercise, bike, anything else, or if you just like doing podcasts. So let me just show you this kind of quickly.
Welcome
here.
to the deep dive. Okay, so if you're a busy professional, you know the AI hype is
You can hear it?
It's relentless.
It really is.
But honestly, it feels like most people spend more time trying to figure out tools like ChatGPT than they actually save using them.
That's a common frustration, yeah.
So today, we are focusing purely on competence. How do you go from being a novice to really navigating this stuff, using it from...
Anyway, so it's like Shelley said, there's going to be two people in a dialogue talking about whatever it is that you gave them and helping you access it in a different way.
Beautiful. Becky, I just want to make you aware we're at the 5-minute mark.
Yep.
So do you have anything else you want to share, or can we open it up to show the group?
Well, we can open it up, but I wanted to share one quick thing is, see if I can do this. That one of the things, I'm trying to remember where I put this now. Well, now I'm probably not going to find it fast enough. Okay, so do I have that in a file? Okay, doggone it. I didn't pull this up and have it set aside. Anyway, what you can do is you can add here, and you're going to add files. So what I like to do is add, it's not going to come up with the right thing, sorry, but you can go through and you can add, let's say there were 3 job descriptions that you were looking at, or 3 job descriptions that you thought were really, really good, and you wanted to maybe synthesize and see are there key things from those 3 that are really great that you want to include in your resume? So the whole point that I wanted to share is that you can add them, and then you can have ChatGPT analyze it, and you can have it make it into a table, and you can have it make it into a table checklist, because I love tables. And so just keep in mind, you can add a bunch of documents, and on ChatGPT or Claude, you can't access probably 50 documents, like, well, yeah, because I ran into a problem when I was trying to do too many. But with Notebook, you can put in a lot. I think Chat and Claude, the other LLMs, if you're just analyzing like 3 job descriptions or 3 job offers or whatever it might be, I think they do a better job. The other thing that I was just going to mention is that a lot of times I have the AI fact check each other. So I might do company research on Chat, and I might put it in Claude, and I might go, you know, is this accurate? Tell me what's accurate. Is this right? Is this wrong? Da, 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 da. And so a lot of times I have them fact check each other. I don't know if that's a good practice or not, but that's one of the things that I do. So other questions as we wrap up here, Mindy?
No, I just want to emphasize that they use the term hallucinate, and sometimes the AI does hallucinate things that are actually not true. So you have to be super careful about what you're using. I have found AI to be extremely valuable for research. It digs into things that would take me way much longer than Chat can do. But we always have to remember that Chat or any AI is a tool, right? It's not, it doesn't replace us. We need to use our brains. And if something doesn't seem right, it's probably not right. So don't allow hallucinations to lead you down a bad path. Just be aware it's a tool and it's still evolving. So here's some information about Becky. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot all this. Anyway, I look at this and I go, take it one step at a time. It's like climbing that wall, just one hand grip to the next. These are my journals. Sometimes people go, well, what other stuff do you have? And then here it's like, okay, we don't have to feel like we're flying into outer space just to use AI. Just get started. Those are my books down on the bottom that are in the AI space. And then here you go. So if you want to reach out, find me on LinkedIn. Oh, I don't have my LinkedIn address. Okay. Well, there's my email. There's my phone. You can find me on LinkedIn. And so here's the other thing. See this QR code, Job Hunter Company Research. This is a booklet. I think it's 13 or 14 pages that I put together. And so that, go to it, see if you find anything useful there. And there's a checklist. There's the how to do the simple search. There's more complicated ones, copy paste the whole thing in. It tells you even how to do that. So I thought, I'm just going to put this together, and if it's a helpful tool, go check it out. And if you want any of my books, there's the Amazon thing to get to those. And Mindy, the brilliant Mindy, and the talented Linda, and the smart Sue Griffey are all in my book, because I said one of the things that people don't seem to do, at least according to my research, using AI research, is that in any of the books dealing with job hunting and dealing with AI for job hunters, is nobody has said who are people that you can go to. So I have, I think it's 13 terrific people in the book that can be resources for you as well. And you know 3 of them that are super talented and smart.
Becky, thank you so much. Everyone who's on our call, you'll see the QR codes in the chat. Becky, we're going to stop the share, if you don't mind. Beautiful. Thank you so much. So in the chat, you'll see the QR code that that Becky put together. That is really all the prompts that she was talking about today. So you don't have to worry about that. And my QR code is here. That is, if we are not connected yet, let's do that. I would love to connect with all of you and help you out as you move through your career journey. That's what I love to do. So you are most welcome. We're so thrilled that you're here today. I know we're running a bit over. Does anyone have a final question that you would like to ask us before we shut down for the day? Or we're all good? everyone knows everything about AI now. Thank you
Good.
everyone for being here. Don't forget to sign up for Virginia Franco on easy to remember, 11/11, November 11th. Laura, if you don't mind putting that link in the chat again one more time, so we can get as many people signed up as possible before we overload the LinkedIn. I haven't really started promoting too much on LinkedIn, but I like to start it the month before. So love to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Hey, Eileen, I didn't see you come in. Welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're all here. And please join us again next month when we will do this one more time.
And Mindy, thank you again for having me here, and great to see all of you. If
Thanks,
there's anything I
Becky.
can do for you, let me know. And you've got some great experts that are on your team.
Thank you, Becky. Have a great day, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.